those into 2 wagons that were provided for their purpose. And when camped, the Gershonites were positioned on the west side of the tabernacle. The Merarites, the descendants of Merari, one of Gershon's younger brothers, they were also Levitical priests. And when they camped, the Merarites were positioned on the north side of the tabernacle. Now the Merarites, who also included the Mahlites and the Mushites, and J. Vernon used to say the electric lights, had the responsibility of transporting many of the materials that made up the tabernacle, particularly the structural parts of the tabernacle. They would take down the boards, the bars, the pillars, the silver sockets, and as well as the bronze sockets, the pins and cords of the court. They would load all these items onto 4 wagons that were made available to them for their purpose, and then they would fall in line behind the Gershonites, Gershonites, for their journey, and they were led by Ithamar, who was Aaron's youngest son. The Merarites were the smallest of 3 Levitical families. At the first census, they numbered 6,200 men, and that was from a month old and above. A lot of times when they did the census, it was from 20 and above, but this particular, the first census was from a month old and above. And in other words, 3,200 males between the age of 30 and 50 at that time. And that's in Numbers chapter 4, 42 and 43 if you're interested. Next came Reuben, and Reuben's name means behold a son. And he was actually
Numbers 4 what?
Numbers 4 verses 42 and 43. Reuben was actually the oldest of Jacob's sons, but Reuben got himself into some trouble. He was not a great or notable person. I mean, when you look at his life, there's not a whole lot of substance about him. The only reference to his early childhood was he went out and gathered some mandrakes for his mother, and years later, as the rest of Jacob's sons began to hate Joseph, yeah. Thank you. Lose my place so easy. As they began to hate Joseph, they wanted to kill him. It was Reuben who stuck up for him, who said, "Oh, let's don't kill him." And his idea was to come back, later and rescue Joseph out of the pit that they put. Let's just put him in the pit. We'll just tell Dad that wild animals got him or something. And he was going to come back and turn him loose, or that was his plan. And then on the other hand, he wasn't all that great or notable. In fact, the thing that he mostly was remembered for was his sin of incest with one of his father's concubines. And he seems to have been a man of passion, somebody who was really ardent or impetuous, maybe somewhat unbalanced, a little unstable. We'd probably say he was HDD or ADD or what's the other one, that autistic or something. He was real unstable. He didn't have a lot going for him. But he was not an unkind, sinful like all the rest of us. He was not an unkind person. He wasn't especially crafty or cruel. He had good intentions to save his brother, and Jacob said on his deathbed that Simon and Levi, they were kind of cruel and crafty. But basically on his deathbed, Jacob also said to Reuben that he was unstable as water, or uncontrolled as water. And water just kind of goes where it wants, within certain borders. And so his sin so greatly affected Jacob that it was all Jacob had to say about it, when he was dying. And as the firstborn, Reuben should have been the one to lead the family. He should have been the one to lead out instead of Judah. He should have led his brothers. He should have received the birthright, the double portion of his inheritance. But his act of incest cost him dearly. He never lost his legal standing as firstborn, but he did forfeit his right to the birthright. And so, whereas he should have been at the head of all the procession